Show you how to create a quick lesson for your logo. And you can do multiple ones if you want. So first thing that we are going to do is open up our logo, and we're going to get it the size we want for the purpose that we want. So when you open it up, you might want to go ahead and resize it. I chose to do a 300 pixel image. So again, it's going to be up to you. I'm going to go ahead, and once I've already changed the size of this, so I'm going to go ahead and hit File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as, I'm going to just call it Logo 300 pixels. So I know which one I chose because you could create different actions for different sizes. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make sure I put it into the logo folder. If you're doing this for a business, you always want to keep that folder in a specific location so that this will always work. Because if it's not, obviously it's not going to work. So I would almost create one on the desktop, and then that way you can keep multiple logos in there and you can create multiple actions. So once we do that, I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And now I'm going to go ahead and begin my action. To do this, I do need a file. So I'm going to open up the file in my animals, and you can pick any one because it really doesn't matter because we will eventually be applying it to all of them. So I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to go up here, and I do want to create a collective action set. So I'm going to create a couple different ones. So I'm going to say a new set, and I'll just call this logo. I think I already have one called logo, so I'm going to put my logo maybe on it. And this again is just a folder to keep them in. I can, if I accidentally create it outside of it, I can drag them inside of here. So I have not started an action yet. I'm now going to go ahead and start that action. So I'm going to go up here and make it. So I'm going to go to my little drop down menu, and I'm going to say new action. We are going to call this logo center. And I'm going to make sure my set is in my logo. And I'm going to say, again, in here, we could make it so that a function key affects that, but we're not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I always open this up to apply it. So I'm going to hit record. And how do I want this to actually happen? I want to be able to file, and I'm going to go to place embedded. And again, you will have to route to that logo folder, and I'm going to place that in here, and I see it's 300 pixels. Again, it's going to seem very small, but I want this for web stuff, so eventually I'm going to make this much smaller, so my image. So is this what I want? I'm going to check mark this and test it. Again, anything you do as far as looking at it is not going to really matter. So do I want it right there in the middle? Because by default it's going to put it in the middle, and it's going to put it at the size that I have it. So basically that is what I want. I just want it to be right there in the middle, but I do want my opacity down a little bit, so I'm going to take my opacity down to maybe about 50. You choose what you feel is most appropriate. And then when you're done, you're going to stop that action. Okay, so now just to test it out, I'm going to delete. And then if I go to my logo center and I hit play, I can see, zoom in on this, because again, it's super small. I do see that that action is in here. Okay, so that's the first one that I want. The second one that I want is maybe I want this, I want it so that it goes in the lower right-hand corner. So we're going to make another new action in that folder. So to do that, I'm going to just delete that out. And I'm going to go up here to my actions. And again, if you don't see them here, you can go up to your window and go down to actions. We're going to go in here. I'm going to hit my menu, and I'm going to say new action, this one. I'm going to put it, maybe I'll put this one in the upper right. You can do what you want. So I'm going to call this logo right. Maybe I'll put upper right. And I'm going to record it, and I want to do basically the same thing. I'm going to go file, I'm going to place embedded, The length of time it takes for you to do this is irrelevant. It's just the steps that it's recording. Once it gets in here, I do want to go ahead and check mark it because I do want it to be maintain that size. And I go up here to my alignments. Now I will tell you, if they are grayed out, you will have to hit these 3 dots and you'll have to make sure it is aligned to canvas. Once it is aligned to canvas, I do want to go up here and I want it to the right and I want it to the upper right. Now, typically you do not want something to be directly affected right against the canvas. So what we are going to do is we're going to use our move tool. So I'm going to make sure I'm on my move tool and I'm going to use my arrow keys and I'm going to move it to the left, maybe about 15 times, 20 times, whatever you think looks good. And then I'm going to move it down about 15, same amount of times. And then once I get that in that position, I'm going to stop it and then I'm going to test it. So I'm going to click on it, delete it out. To test it, I simply go in here to logo upper right and I hit play and I can see it put it in there. That is how you're going to create an action for your logos.